What's up, guys? I'm Jay.
I'm Marcus.
And we're the BrewGuys. Coming to look at Incessant by Bell's Brewery, and we have a couple really special guests that we'd like to bring in. I'm going to bring them up on the big screen right now. We have Dennis and Andrea. And the boys. Hi, boys.
Jojo.
There's a big Jordan.
Hey, what's up, boys?
Go.
See ya.
So, little bit of background. Dennis and Andrea, craft beer lovers, just like us. Ironic story, Dennis actually did a show with us that we had a technologically disadvantage. I messed up bad.
I feel "we" is a strong word here.
Yeah. So there was a technological issue, and yeah, mostly me to blame. So,
I was at home still on lockdown.
Yeah, that's right, you were. Yeah, so the audio is still non-functioning. So, unfortunately, Dennis did a great job, and so we decided to have not only him back, but his lovely wife Andrea, who's also.
She has a better taste in beer than he does, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's good to know. I didn't know that at all, as a matter of fact. So, Incessant, what do you guys know about it so far, other than it just showed up?
I think it's got to be what, Bell's first New England?
It is. It's their first one.
So, I mean, we had this discussion though. What was the one that they had that wasn't a New England that they messed up on? What did I call that one? There was one that they came out with.
Shorts had the stupid slurp juice.
Slurp juice. No, there was one that they came up with. I don't think of the name. Anyway, it looked like a baseball jersey.
Oh, Official.
Official. So Official was a Bell's beer that was quoted as an NE IPA, and I'm not sure if you guys.
No, it's just hazy.
Yeah, it wasn't.
They changed the can. It just says
well,
hazy.
It wasn't hazy at all. That was the issue. I tried it. It was quite clear. It was straw colored. It wasn't soft. It wasn't an NPA.
It was just an IPA.
It was nothing to do with an NE IPA. So we ran across this one, and this one happens to be the NE IPA, but it is also
it's a double.
A twist on it because it's a double NE IPA, right? So
yes.
What is either of your current favorite NE IPA, or even better, double NE IPA that you can think of?
Oh, we've had so many of the Dreckers lately. I couldn't even tell you that.
Okay.
They're all good.
Yeah. And how any of the Treehouse that you guys have had?
Oh yeah.
We just had.
What was the one that was purple can, Marcus?
Oh, we had Perfect Storm.
Oh yeah. It's actually sitting behind us right now. Yeah.
And the Julius.
Julius.
Yep.
King Julius is a double, correct?
Yeah. So this one, first one.
Yeah. So those are. I mean, so I don't know that necessarily we will hold them.
I don't feel like it's going to be Treehouse.
You don't think it'll be Treehouse?
I don't think it's going to be Treehouse.
So, and obviously Bell's a big staple here in Michigan. A lot of great beers.
I'm just hoping it's good. One more to have.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you guys think? You want to crack this?
Yeah, we can crack this one open.
Cool.
I'll tell you.
I'll let
Can's
you
interesting.
I think, you know, the design is good. I should have kept the little cardboard thing. I actually thought the sleeve was quite good. This seems to be outside of...
Oh, it smells juicy.
Would you guys say that's outside of Bell's comfort zone as far as the design?
Yeah, because they're very, like you said, that other can looked like a baseball.
No, it's very
jersey or a hat. Very simple.
Plain Jane kind of.
Very simple.
Oh, sorry.
I was actually surprised that it was Bell's when
You know, it's funny you say that. I was too, actually. I thought, when I saw it on the quote-unquote exclusive shelf at Meijer, I said, like, that same thing. Like, that's kind of funky. What's that? And I couldn't pick out the brand just by that. So,
and I mean, you think of their staple, Two Hearted.
No.
They've had the two trout on that can forever.
Forever.
And they've gone through recently, I know they've revamped. Two Hearted has the hunting theme now. It's all orange, which it didn't before. And then I believe they're on their second or third version of Oberon. Have you seen the new Oberon packaging?
Yeah. Cool.
So they're obviously trying to reinvent themselves packaging wise. So
you almost have to nowadays. With everybody's got all this really unique artwork going on. If you don't do it, people will just leave it sitting there.
I think a couple things I noticed that are interesting is that the design is quite the antithesis of what other microbrews are doing. You're getting a lot of plain, very simple artsy cans, where this is very busy. You know, it's a ball lined can, and it's a 16 ounce, which is great. That's what we're going to. It seems like. So, you want to pour that?
Let's pour it.
All right, let's pour it up. I'm gonna bring up the. I'm gonna end up jumping back and forth between you guys and the spreadsheet a little bit, but we'll keep a record over here.
It smells juicy.
Yeah, it does. I'll keep the spreadsheet over here, and we'll start filling it out while we're, so we can actually see you guys.
It's gotten to the point where almost it's weird to hold a 12-ounce can.
They feel so little.
It's funny you say that. You're right. It is.
Unless it's a Pilsner. I mean, that's all you're getting.
True. Now, are you guys both Two Hearted fans?
Yeah. Yes.
It's kind of a go-to around here.
I haven't bought it in a while. I gotta go back to that.
I love it. It's a great summer beer. What about Double? Have either of you had it?
Double Two Hearted?
No, we have not had a double.
Yeah, I don't think we have had a double.
We went the other direction. We had the
light.
Double Crooked Tree.
No.
Oh, what?
The lighthearted?
Lighthearted.
The half Two-Hearted.
Or half-hearted.
The one-hearted.
Half-hearted.
We didn't like that.
It was awful.
Yeah, I think it's
too watery.
Yeah. There could be a niche for it somewhere, but I don't think it's with a lot of craft. It could be getting people into the sport, but maybe not necessarily people who already are.
Doesn't have a niche
We
in mind.
still have a can of it left, I believe.
Yeah.
It's old.
Use it for cooking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's actually a great tip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to poach some good trout or something in there. That wouldn't be bad.
Or chicken. Throw it right in chicken butt.
Yeah. So on aroma, I'm going to give this one a nice little sniff. I'm getting a little bit of a hazy straw color. I'll show this to you guys as well. I'm sure you're getting the same. Looks like we can see yours on camera. So hazy straw. I'm getting some shadows through it.
I can see my finger shadows.
Yep. Aroma, it seems light to me, but I do get a little bit of pillowiness.
It's much juicier than official, that's for sure.
It's got some little bit of juiciness, decent head retention. Anything that sticks out to you guys as far as smell or appearance?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
No.
Well, it smells citrusy.
Yeah,
It smells like it, yeah.
I like the color. But
What would you guys give it 1 to 5 on just the aroma alone?
You can be point whatever, just like
whatever
Untappd.
Whatever you feel.
Don't kill me. 3.4.
No, okay.
Why would we kill you? That's what we have you on for.
We want
honesty.
We want honesty.
Well, here's the problem: is like you said earlier, we've had Treehouse and Drecker,
right?
Some of these other ones that we've got off Tavern. I don't know. It's hard.
It is. No, I agree. When you're searching out some of those more exclusive, the ones that are micros and definitely higher end, I think kind of to a little degree we almost have to. We typically rate them like an exclusive versus a mainstream. I would say this is a little more mainstream, obviously. So.
But this is going to have much further distribution than the Dreckers and Treehouses and such.
Yeah.
Andrea, what would you give it on a 1 to 5? Do you think?
I mean, I think my color in my glass looks different than his. I would say it's about a 3.5, but that's what I would say.
I completely agree with the 3.5. That's what I'm going to give it. Marcus, what do you think?
3.2.
3.2. And that could be. Andrea brings up a great point. There could be some variant there. I don't know if you guys are drinking out of the same can, but if you are, it could be the top or the bottom of the can. If you're drinking out of 2 separate ones, then there could be, some variability to the canning line itself. So it's definitely a great point to bring up. It may not be that consistent. So, appearance-wise, I'll kick it off and say it's a little clarified for me. I think the head retention's good. I'm getting a very solid head that's hanging out. Decent halfway legs, straw color to a little bit of shadows. I mean, I like it in any IPA. I like it to seem soft, pillowy, and definitely hazy. So I'm actually going to cut it down to a straight 3 on that. What do you guys think?
For me, being a double New England, you think cloudy.
Sure.
You think some, maybe not cloudy is the wrong word, but maybe you don't see through the glass.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Much thicker.
Yes, and I'm seeing through the glass towards the top a little bit.
Marcus, what?
Well, I'm going to agree with Dennis. For as big of a brewery as Bell's is, they know what these are supposed to look like. This is not looking like any of the double New Englands that you typically see that you want to be known for.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 2.7.
Okay. So as a comparative, what's the big semi-local that we would hold this
Old
against?
Nation.
Old Nation.
Even Holmes.
So what? Boss
Old
Tweed?
Nation, Holmes, Transient, they all. Like,
yeah. Boss Tweed.
This looks like nothing of any other beers.
What's
the Juice is Loose, Boss Tweed.
Yeah.
What's the double? Tone. Tone the double.
Tone was a double. Corner is Corner a single.
Parallel was a double.
Parallel was a double.
Doesn't look like any of those.
Parallel was the beer that will ever be the baseball can that.
Yeah, for Holmes.
Yeah.
Where Dennis that was the one where Dennis was here, but then we lost all the audio.
Yeah.
That
doesn't look anything like.
We're gonna try to figure out how to pull that out of the archive some year when the technology gets better. So.
So now comes the hard part. We gotta drink it.
Now the difficult part. We're gonna go ahead and give it a try. So.
All right.
Cheers to you guys. Well, I'd like to hear first impressions from our guests, to be honest with you.
Oh, good. Because
what's the first thing you think of? So we're drinking any IPA double.
I mean, I don't think it's a double.
I don't think it's a double. I was gonna say maybe it's closer to a 1.5. Right?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
It is definitely thicker than a single, but it doesn't have that double. I mean, it had a good flavor to me. Like, I was surprised that it was smoother than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
But again, it doesn't necessarily feel hazy-ish.
Agreed. Not a lot in suspension. I kind of feel the same way. I would say at a 1.5. Although it's not as. Is it less sweet than? I think it's less sweet than I was expecting.
It's not as juicy as it smells.
No, it doesn't quite live up to the aroma.
No. The first word that came to my head when I took a drink of it was disappointed.
Yeah?
I was disappointed. Bell's is so big, there's no reason they can't make these beers right.
So it's a great point. Do we look at things as far as that goes? Does it make it easier for a micro, in your guys' opinion, a Holmes, even Old Nation, does it make it easier for them to make higher beers? If you're talking about running a 30-barrel batch versus running several 6,000-barrel batches.
Yes.
I mean, is that
absolutely?
Does that change things? I mean, I think it does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it has to. I think your scope's different.
Right.
Because
right. But if you're a big company like Bell's, do you, and large for us obviously, do you keep an R&D size brewing rig like that's 30-barrel where you do an exclusive and then you make it pretty limited? And maybe only sell it at the cafe, maybe not distribute it? Or are you trying to hit in the middle with this where it's distributed but not really distributed and kind of, maybe they missed the point there by going about halfway. I don't know.
That is to me right there. This to me feels like a money grab. We threw New England double IPA on a can for people to buy it.
With a cool can.
With a cool can.
Different than what they do.
And then you're just disappointed.
Okay.
If you can't focus on it, you shouldn't make it.
Yeah.
No matter your size.
Yeah, and not to I'm not to dog them or anything, because Bell's does do some great things. I mean, two of my favorite beers ever are the 30th anniversary and Black Note, probably.
I love Two Hearted.
And Two Hearted's a great, yeah. I mean, no, they make a lot of great beers. So I mean, not dogging the company, but maybe on this approach, I think that's correct. Maybe it's a little, maybe it's just falling short.
Dennis, what do you think about it?
Yeah.
Well, my thought process too is your Bells you can distribute like no other, and you're hoping maybe you get people to say, hey, that's not a bad New England, because they haven't drank Brewery, they haven't drank Holmes, they haven't drank Treehouse.
No.
But they're not giving a true double. When I think of double, as you guys would probably agree, you're going to get that smooth start, and then you're waiting for that back end of that, either that tartness or something that gives you something on that back end. There's nothing.
No. Right. Like a good hot punch in the mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want something and as we all know, if you go up to a triple, it's almost the same thing, and you're going to get that even bigger punch.
Yep. More sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, and this here, it's almost like drinking that hazy or that official.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a little beef, but yeah, maybe
a little
just
thicker.
Yeah, there's something there. Maybe we'll jump to mouthfeel then, because maybe that's one of the where this has a little bit more punch. What do you guys think? I think maybe its mouthfeel might be its shining portion. Maybe I think the mouthfeel isn't bad. It's got decent hang time on the glass. I think the acidity's a little high. I think it's not bad, but it brightens it a touch. I'm actually going to give it a halfway decent score in the mouthfeel. I'm going to say it's a 3.5 in mouthfeel. Dennis, what do you think about that? Mouthfeel.
I was thinking mid threes. I'd go 3.6 on the mouth. That's probably its best feature out of all the ones we're talking about here.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I would agree. I mean, I still have a lot of my head retention too, and my mouthfeel was a little creamier than I thought it was going to be, so I would say about a 3.5.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's too low.
Such a dork.
X-rated. Sorry, guys.
You're good. And what did you think?
We can beep you out.
Yeah. What did you think, Marcus, on mouthfeel alone?
You guys all know that New England's are my favorite.
All right, and doubles.
And doubles are my even more favorite.
Right.
My favorite is favorite.
Yeah.
I would say the mouthfeel on this, for what it's supposed to be, 3.
Okay. Straight 3.
I mean, it's not horrible, but that's not what it's supposed to be.
All right.
Now, I didn't buy the cans. As you guys know, you guys did. Mm-hmm. Jay or Marcus bought the beer.
Yeah, I think we both did. We both have a cube of it.
4-pack?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much did you get for a 4-pack?
$16, $15.99.
Correct.
Okay. You're thinking yourself, you get a 4-pack of Boss Tweed or M43. You're in that same ballpark right there, and it's probably
yeah, you're $3.99. You're $3.99 a 16 there.
So it's over. It's priced more than M43, and it's right at Boss Tweed.
And let me, and let me get.
I would never pick this over Boss Tweed.
It's at Boss Tweed for sure, price wise. Now we can also say if we want to go to the next level, I believe there's a few doubles from homes that are 18 a 4. So. I mean, just to give an idea where we're at.
Those are the specialty seasonal beers.
I think they
the
run
Full Earth is going to run that. The Cart Horse or whatever they call it now, they're going to do that.
No, but Holmes is going to be $18.99. So you're going three more bucks for Holmes doubles. Now,
I would gladly drive to Ann Arbor and pay more money to get a Holmes double IPA than go to the grocery store next to my house and pay this $16.
Yeah, but I think what you guys were getting at is probably the best comparison. So. Full Earth is a little more rare, so maybe not a great comparison. This is supposed to be exclusive, and Boss Tweed is out all the time. So it is hard. If you see Full Earth in this, I don't think anybody would make the choice.
I would buy B43 over this, and I'm not really a huge fan of the B43.
Oh, no, come on. B43 is a good one, though.
It is good, that's what I'm saying.
I have to be in the mood. But it's a good brew. Too. It's a good brew, but I have to be in the mood, for sure, for a brew, period.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Go ahead.
It reminds me of almost like Three Floyds. Three Floyds, Zombie Dust is above and beyond their best beer, hands down.
It's phenomenal.
And then Gumball Head's pretty good. Alpha King's pretty good, but it's not Zombie.
No.
And it's like, how can they make Zombie so good? And it's like, you have all these other beers and they just disappoint you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think you'd
But the price point is the same because they sell Zombie Dust. So they have that name to tag onto it.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to have the marketing portion of it. No. Now, so I'll go out on a limb and say about this one. I believe Sam Adams actually put out their version of a tall can NE IPA. I can't remember what they call it.
I think it's called Juicy. I think they just call it
Juicy?
Or Juicy or something.
But it's a 16.
I think it was something simple.
It's very simple.
It might have been just be New England IPA.
It is. And I gotta be honest with you, it's not bad.
It's better than this.
It's definitely better than this. And that's not a double.
No, that's a regular.
So that's a mainstream, fully distributed, out of Boston, makes it all the way to Michigan, makes it across the country. Somewhat comparison, I guess. Maybe not fair, but it's a comparison nonetheless.
Oh, I agree.
No, but same as far as distribution.
Same premise, same distribution.
Yeah.
And so on flavor, we'll jump to you, Marcus. Let you start one.
The flavor is not horrible. It's got an alright flavor. It's just not what it's supposed to be. I'd give the flavor, I'd give it 3.25 on flavor.
Okay. And I'll jump down to Andrea. What do you think on flavor?
I think it's actually, again, not expecting it to be a little heavier and a little bit different. I don't mind the flavor either. I would give it a 3%.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll jump in. I'll jump in before Dennis. I'm going to be a little harsh on the flavor. I think that there's some aspects of it. It's a little bright. It's got potential. If this was my homebrew, I'd be like, that's a great first attempt. I think you got something there you can build off of. So I'm going to go straight 3 even on flavor because it is what it is. Dennis, what do you think?
I was glad you went there, Jay, because I was going to be harsh. I mean, if we all honestly look at ourselves and we say, okay, when I grab a New England IPA, what am I looking for in flavor? What is at least something I'm going to grab out of this? And generally, it's a Citra, it's a orange flavor of some sort, correct?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Big citrus,
juicy citrus.
Yeah,
all those numbers.
I don't think I'm drinking a New England here. I'm going to go 2.2.
Okay. Wow, that's harsh. Hey, we support honesty here, so that's okay. That's how he feels.
I love it.
We're good with
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
It's juicy. You're supposed to juicy. You guys all. I mean, it's supposed to have that citrus flavor.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Right. So let me throw another thought out to you, since we have you guys here. What if this beer came out and it has this cool can, which I kind of dig the can. It's got a little bit of a hippie vibe to it. And it comes out and they said, this is a Midwest IPA or a Michigan IPA. What if they said, this is our version of it and we take that style out of it? Does that do anything for the beer, you think?
I think so.
Yeah. I do too, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if we're being honest about it, the fact that it says double New England style IPA on the bottom of the can, that to me is misleading.
That hurts.
That's false marketing. That is not what this is.
I think that's the whole problem with it.
Yeah. Sure. If it didn't say that, if it just said double IPA or double American IPA or whatever they want to put on it, I would have enjoyed it more because I wouldn't have expected what I expected.
So what would you, if your descriptor, what would you put on the bottom of the can? So let's say you work in marketing for Bell's and you say, because I got an idea for mine, so go ahead. What would you put
I would just put straight double IPA.
How about slightly juicy double American IPA? Okay. What do you think?
Slightly juicy Midwestern double IPA.
And then I knock $4.50 off the price.
Yeah.
If this 4-pack was $10, I'd buy it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy drinking. You're still. I mean, you have to appreciate that it says it's an 8.5% ABV,
yeah. Which is up with the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, I still think you guys agree, like Boss Tweed and your Holmes Brewery with doubles are nice 9.2.
Yeah, you got to get above the 8.9. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they're pretty good at that point. I'll give it this much. So I'm looking at this can. It says shelf life 3 months. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that a lot on a can.
Nope.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Puerto Rico, do not litter. I mean,
yeah, I know that is weird. That is weird that is on there.
That's called big brewery problems.
Yeah, maybe there's an issue that we don't know about. It is interesting.
I feel bad knocking Bell's because I like a lot of Bell's beers.
No, we like Bell's. Bell's is a staple. That's,
but
they were here before a lot.
They should know better than to market this beer as this when they know that it's not that.
I don't disagree. So our fifth parameter is overall. I'm going to start with Andrea so nobody gets to, so she doesn't get pushed into a number here just in case. So if you were so I see your check-ins on Untappd. If you're checking this in at any point, just at home, well currently we're at home, but anywhere else, what are you going to check it in at?
I mean, whenever I check it, my biggest thing, I mean, I look at all those things, but my biggest thing's always taste. So,
sure.
because I mean I would probably give it about a 3.25.
Okay.
That's what I would, if I were gonna check it in, that's what I would give it, because I feel like it tastes good, even though it's, like Marcus said, it's not necessarily what I expected by, looking at what it's called or what it's supposed to be. But I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it.
Right.
I was just, again, disappointed by what I thought I would be drinking.
Yeah. I think
liked it.
I'll jump in next just to level load a little bit here, maybe. If I'm checking this in, let's say I went to Bell's the Cafe or something like that, I would give this a straight 3, only because of the description. I think, yeah. I mean, we've been through the reasons why, I guess, at this point, but I want to give it a 3.25, but I don't think it's there. I just don't. I'm going to save the best for last. Dennis, what would you check this in on Untappd?
You might be better than me here. Yeah, we're on the same page.
I know.
No, Jay brought up a valid point, because sometimes if I'm sitting at the brewery and this is listed up there, double New England IPA, 8.5%, I'm thinking to myself, well, let's try that.
Yeah.
I may be more in tune to give it a better score, but then I see the can, and then we have all these other things that go into that factor. I'm sitting at home, like you said, I'm gonna rate it worse.
Yeah.
2.9.
What was it?
2.9.
2.9 overall.
Okay. And we could, we've had this discussion briefly on camera and off. We could probably do a whole 20-minute show on the differences between tasting a beer at home and then the environment of the brewery with the chalkboard and friends and the noise and the whole thing. And there's some differences there. Maybe we'll get there someday. We'll explore that. But I completely agree. I think environment has a lot to do with it. Mood even has something to do with it. But
well, I am not in a good mood right now. So I'll tell you this: if I have this at Bell's Brewery and I'm sitting there and they bring this out to me, I'm going to ask them, "What the f is this? This is not what you are telling me it's supposed to be."
Okay. So what are you going to check it in at?
I would check this beer in. If I was sitting there or at home, I would check this beer in at 2.75. They mislabeled this beer so bad that it affected how I feel about the beer. Whether it tastes good or not, it's not what it's supposed to be. Right. This is an IPA.
So they're off
on
all day.
What if it said hazy?
That would change it.
So
if the four of us have had some Treehouse, if we've had some Trillium, if we've had some Drecker, if we've had some Holmes, you know all of them have had it. They all know each other. And to put this out as a double IPA,
you should be tasting them,
it's disappointing.
Yeah.
If you to put hazy IPA, cool.
So if you're in marketing, let's say at Founders, pretty direct competitor, right, with Bell's.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit smaller depending on how you look at volume. Do you go after this? Do you say that's not going to cut it? Do you put out your version, or do you let it slide?
You stay like Founders. You stay in the stouts. You stay out of the New England IPA business.
You don't even bother.
You stay true to yourself. You stay in the niche.
They were invented in New England. They were, well, there's West Coast IPA, which is a version of it, right? So we've had
a drier version.
We've had Monkish, and we've had other people that are Midwestern.
Russian River, all that stuff.
They've all tried to kind of do their own version. So maybe it's time for a Midwest IPA. Maybe it's time for something different from this region, rather than, maybe that's a great point. Maybe we don't all have to make a superb any IPA. Maybe we can leave Sleeping Dogs Lie there and work on our own stuff.
Don't force it, and don't put it on a can to get us to buy it when it's not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
that's a great. If you can't do it, don't do it.
Exactly.
That's a great point. So we are currently on Incessant by Bell's at a 63. Aroma's at a 3.4. Appearance at a 2.88. We clearly didn't like the appearance so much. Flavors at a 3 even. And mouthfeels at a 3.4 seems to be its strong point. 63.
Below
what would be a 63? Yeah, I would say below average is fair.
It's not what it's supposed to be. It's below average. For a New England IPA, it's below average.
Yeah, so I think the style is what is hurting it currently.
Yeah.
Calling it something else might be Good.
I like that idea of the Midwestern IPA. Why not? Yeah. Nobody's used that term.
But it has to have some sort of punch to it. It has to have something about it that makes it a Midwest IPA, right? Yeah. In this case, in any IPA, the haze comes from, I'm sure most of us know, the haze actually comes from dry hopping and suspended solids, right? Yep. So it's actually very difficult. There's a lot of places who have tried to scam it, for lack of a better term, and they've added flour, they've added other things to get that soft mouthfeel. It takes time, and if you can't rush it, maybe this was rushed a little bit to try to get out to market.
Which is sad. It's a money grab.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. It could be. So, anyway.
It's disappointing. For a place like Bell's, it's disappointing.
Yeah, so, go ahead.
You bring up, like marketing and stuff. You think about, like, just trucks. Chevy, Ford, Dodge. We're all making trucks. How do we distinguish ourselves with that truck from others?
Yeah.
Sure.
Same with New England. There are so many New Englands on the market, and it's so difficult to do.
Right.
You've got to put something out there to get yourself past that.
Exactly. Right. Especially this late in the game of New England IPAs. You almost have to hit a grand slam when you put one out.
Right.
Yeah.
When did 43 come out?
Man, mid-2017, I believe. It's almost 3 years old.
I know it was developed earlier than that, but when did it hit mainstream market? That's
about 3 years it's been on.
Yeah, I think he first brewed it in 14, maybe, or something like that. I know I've heard that story, but I don't recall. I mean, within it's less than 5 years old, we'll say, or 5 years.
I mean, you think if you do this beer 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, we may have a different opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit. I mean, but like we said, it's so late in the game. You better come out with something that's gonna
be strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would give an example. Maybe it's when we're talking about marketing. Maybe it needs to be done a little more like the example I have is Founders. Founders did a beer several years back. I was at the CVS release with some friends at Founders in Grand Rapids, and they had this beer on the experimental tap list, and it was a really neat barrel aged coffee brown, and really loved it. Thought it was really interesting. Had a friend that wasn't into craft beer. He liked it as well. And what it ended up being is several years later, quite a few years later actually, it's now known as, it's changed its name, it's called Underground Mountain Brown.
Underground Mountain Brown.
Because Sumatra Brown had come out. They did pilot that at one point, but the barrel-aged version, I believe, is Underground Mountain Brown.
Yep.
And so that's what it ended up being. So maybe my point is that maybe if you're going to pilot an any IPA, maybe that needs to go out on a small scale to start and do some R&D and see if you're there yet, rather than...
Yeah.
And maybe they did some of that. I don't know. I don't know the history, but that feels more organic to get it out to the customers that way for some reason to me.
It even says on the bottom of the can.
If it was labeled experimental, you'd feel like you'd maybe even have a different opinion. Like,
and that's
they're working on this. They can improve this. Like,
yeah, and here's a wild and crazy idea, especially with where we're at right now in life. Imagine if a beer came out and it said on there, "Here's our email address. We want to know your thoughts," and they stationed somebody on that and said, "This is experimental. If you got your hands on it, good job. We put it out very limited. What do you think we need to change? Not, do you love it? Like, we don't want to just know, oh, it's so good. I mean, that's great. That's a nice feedback. But what you want is the constructive criticism, right? And what if they went that route? I mean, that might be a great tip for any brewery to look at. It's not micro.
Almost like a focus group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, great time to do it. People are out there.
And this is named Incessantly because they were asked incessantly.
Yeah, where's the IPA, right? Yeah, that's a great point too. I didn't think about that. That's true.
You better come out strong.
Yeah. Well, because they were responding to what people wanted, but they couldn't kind of.
Almost didn't deliver. Right. Yeah, I agree.
Right.
To that point too, we will be doing, and we'd love to get your guys' feedback down the road as well. We're going to be doing a budget brew challenge. I think that's what we're calling it.
Budget brew challenge.
Yeah. And what that is we'll have some posts coming out about that. And what we're looking at is, as we all know, we're basing it, our stimulus here is that about 14 and a half, a little more % of the country's out of work right now. And, you know, so maybe $9 cans of beer isn't really reasonable, but we still want craft beer in our lives. So what, you know, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the future about, like, what you think our current standard is. We're trying to get it down below $1.99 retail, $1.99 retail on a 12-ounce can of something that's somewhat accessible.
12-ounce can. Might have to be a 16-ounce can.
We are going to, well, you can still do the math. We could call it like
$2.29.
$2.29, yeah. That's good math, by the way. But we're trying to find a few of those heavy hitters so we can put them in there. So look out for that. We'd love to see your input on that and what you think is worthy of that. Because again, I think, did I do the homework on the Bell's on Too Hard? Does Too Hard even qualify? I think it's just outside of the realm.
More than that.
I think it's just outside of the realm because their prices have come up.
No, actually, I think when I saw it the other day, 4-pack of 2 Harder was $6.99, so it's close.
It's close. It's real close. Yeah, probably if you bought it at a 30 cube, it'd probably come down in price.
The 4-pack of 16-ounce cans are $6.99.
So basically, I'm going to force Marcus to buy a lot of beer to get the price down to where you can meet for one beer.
I already know my 2 beers. Yeah. I'm already got mine.
Yeah, so anyway, we're not telling each other either. So we'd love to hear from people who are craft beer buffs and stuff like that.
So
what
think
they
about
think. It. Yeah, so think about that. Jump into our post when we get that up and stuff like that. Also, I did want to mention, while we have both of them here, it's awesome to have Andrea on, and obviously we're huge supporters of the female initiative because we all have daughters, and we do love to see the ladies.
She doesn't have any daughters.
I know she doesn't, though. You're right. A little bit of irony there.
Get one, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But to see the ladies that are into craft beer is huge. We love seeing that. We have a lot of people that we follow and follow us that are ladies who are making their way through craft beer, and they share that experience quite a bit, which is amazing. She didn't think she...
it might have been Too Harded.
Okay,
actually.
Yeah. So
I think it was Too Harded.
So your gateway...
I'll be honest, I hated IPAs for a long time.
Well, this is easy.
That's okay. Yeah, like I get it. Mine into IPAs is different from most because I had the same problem. I had friends that were drinking very, very high-end, strong doubles and stuff like that, and I couldn't handle it. I was a stout guy at best and grew up on Guinness and things like that. So mine actually is an odd one. Mine is a session, and a session can get you into things, just like an American is for that beer. Mine happened to be all-day IPA from Founders, which is a session right around 36 IBU, and that got me into some of that, and I worked into a Centennial, which is a double, and things like that. So yeah, I think that beer probably not only is a good gateway, but I think it was at one point the #1 beer in the country.
Yeah, it was.
So not very surprising to hear that.
I already know Dennis's answer because we have the same answer. But Dennis,
yeah,
what beer got you into craft beer?
You gonna say something?
Let's hear your answer first.
What started? I already know. It's Christmas Ale from Great Lake, from Cleveland.
In Cleveland.
That's true. We used to scour.
Can I tell you though? Still to this day, I think Cleveland's Christmas Ale is probably Great Lakes Brewing. Sorry, they're out of Cleveland. My dad lives out that way. It's probably one of the best Christmas ales out there. Still, to this day, I don't think there's much that can take it.
That's what got us on the hunt.
Really? Do you agree with that, or do you have a different one?
I mean, I think Too Hard was the IPA one. Christmas Ale definitely was the feeling of trying to find that unique hunt for it. Oh, God, you can't find it because Marcus would call me and say, hey, so-and-so's got a 12-pack. And Zombie Dust, of course.
It's a great one.
That was kind of down the way a little bit, but I still was pretty fresh with that one.
Well, Zombie Dust is no joke. I mean, you're not going to start out with that, I don't think.
No.
Well, I mean, he doesn't really like stouts and porters and things like that. I do. I like browns and those kinds of things. I mean, I remember back when I was like early 20s and I would drink like Newcastle, which is weird.
Nut brown? Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
I remember getting you guys a keg of Newcastle.
Yeah.
It's a great
her dad
beer.
and her got drunker than a skunk on that at a Super Bowl party.
That's a great beer. Listen, I think that's probably another good gateway. If I could recommend, have you had Big Grizz yet, Andrea? Okay, Perrin Brewing, Big Grizz.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have.
I have? Where?
Yeah, we've had Big Grizz.
From where?
Great brown.
See?
Great brown.
Oh, I don't remember.
It's when you gotta start checking your Untappd. That's
And then
why
what
I
is
keep
what is
track.
the other one they do that's a brown? Is it FYP? There's one that has an initial. It has a funny name because they can only call it the acronym because it has a bad word in it. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we want to let you guys go because I know you got the boys to take care of and better things to do than hang out with us. But we really, really, really appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out with us and drinking a extremely mediocre beer.
Thanks, guys.
Here, Jay, this is what we'll be doing the rest of the night. This is
And
our
we
view.
Well, that's a pretty darn good view.
Hey, I think I see one of my golf balls.
Yeah, right.
Oh, thanks, JoJo.
Yeah, now was the broken bird feeder in there?
No, I didn't show you that.
We'll keep that out. We'll edit that out if we have to. All right, guys. Well, we always end with the cheers, even though I've got empty glasses. So appreciate
cheers,
Dennis
guys.
and Andrea coming on, and thank you so much. And we'll look forward to having you on again. Cheers, guys.